Welcome to the Upholstery Show, live from Arlington, Massachusetts. We're going to serve you up a beautiful bowl of coconut fiber. Really?
All right.
It never gets old. And our special guest here, Jimmy, has appeared once again. He's had a 3-week hiatus. He's had a lot of groupies after him, and last week he couldn't get in the front door. There were so many people out front that he couldn't get in, and he texted me and saying that he'd come back another time. And so here he is, Jimmy. Thank you for coming.
It's okay. Okay, no excuses, but that's all right.
We were discussing before this show started about if you were locked in a room with upholstered furniture for a week, what type of furniture would you want? What type of batting would you be able to subsist on? And I think we came to the conclusion, right?
Coconut, baby.
Coconut fiber, right?
Survival techniques, baby. This is good. Come on.
And you didn't know who this guy, Mickey Dodge, was. I think our friends out in the Pacific Northwest would know. This guy. He's got the big beard and the mustache, and he would go around the woods. They did a reality show on him.
Okay.
And he would just eat whatever, he knew the things to eat that he could eat, out of the woods.
To sustain himself.
He would sustain himself, Jimmy, and you would go along on the adventure of this guy. I'm not sure what the situation, if this was real or what.
Well, he probably had a Snickers bar between breaks.
I think so. He used to have stashes, though. You're right. He used to stash things, and he'd find them and mysteriously be able to.
Look at those malted milk balls. They're straight up.
But we do not want to do this, Jimmy. We do not want to try this out at home. Lock yourself in a room and subsist on coconut fiber. I don't think
that's with cable.
That thing we can't mention.
Okay.
Okay. So it's good to see you guys. Got a lot to talk about. Actually, before I get going on the YouTube and the Facebook and what I have up here on the display, I just want to talk a little bit about this year. So this is the last show we're doing this year, and it's been a tough year, I'll tell you, for business. I can complain just a little bit about my friends in the restaurant business, Jimmy. I'm off about, I just want to let everybody know that I'm off about 25% of my business. We try to adjust to certain things, and I've noticed, and I want to do this to our friends out there. We're trying to make a living in the upholstery business. I just want to set out an alarm of sorts that there's a trend now where the price points are coming down a little bit. So I wanted to announce at this time that I'm going to start doing slipcovers again myself. I said because that's a lower price point, and I think I can maybe sell a little bit more of the jobs that I've not been getting as a result. I think people are getting a little nervous. They're coming in. We're going into a second year, really. I mean, it's been 9 months. Now we're coming into January. But I want to be positive, though. I want to tell you guys. So I really want to emphasize to you guys to get really good at your sewing machine. Try to put a little bit more time into the machine to get good at slip covering. We do have one class online about slip covering, and we're going to have more now. This is an incentive for me to get more slip covering classes up and running. We have one, right, Pat? We have one with Bernice, and she's really good, and you guys might want to check that out. But I think it's probably a trend that is going to be in more places than just the Northeast. So I think what you need to do is just diversify a little bit. That's all I'm saying. If you've been watching me for 10 years, you've heard me say I just do upholstery. I used to do slip covers, but now I'm doing them. So with that said, along that line, I just want to show I want to highlight some of the stitching that I've been doing. Look at this beautiful Marimekko fabric. Isn't this gorgeous? Of course, this customer brought me this. Now, Marimekko is a company. I don't mind mentioning the name. I'll tell you why. Because they're a fabric company that sells to everybody at the same price point. So, I mean, nobody that I know in the upholstery world or slipcover world has had Marimekko books because they sell to everybody the same. But they're known for these really wild fabrics, and I think this is beautiful. But I don't know if you can get a close-up of the stitch work here, how beautiful this is, and how tight my seams are, and how nice, see? And that's a big, long bench cushion. And I want to show you a couple of other jobs that came in. This is a huge chaise lounge cushion. This is the old fabric. This is the new fabric. And beautiful stitch work here, nice and tight. You know, you need to invest. If you guys don't have a machine that can do this type of work, invest in a Juki. But get your skill level up. And here's another big cushion. A lot of big cushions lately. And this is a chenille that really made up nice. See how nice my corners. Just want to show you my corners, how straight they are. And all these cushions need to be filled. So I just wanted to start out like that. I want to be positive though. I mean, I'm in the same boat. We're all in the same boat, you guys. We're all kind of, you know, I've been talking to a lot of other people that have managed to keep their businesses open, and they're all saying it's been tough. It's a tough year. It still continues to be tough through the winter. But, you know, people are trying to diversify, we believe in our businesses, right? So stick in there, because I know it's going to get better. There's a lot of hope out there. It's coming down the road. And for all those who are at home and have managed to keep jobs at home, I think sewing and doing upholstery is great for the mental health. If you've watched me before, you know that for 4 years I taught in a program for people with difficulties ranging from head injuries to major mental illness, some dual diagnosis, and we had some really successful times at that place. And I think people do well when they're doing things with their hands. I think that right part of the brain really helps. So if you're at home doing the left part of the brain, which a lot of people are, please, by all means, pick up the hobby and watch the YouTube channel. Subscribe, definitely, please. And maybe you'll find another hobby, even if it's just repairing something at home that you have. One of our fix-it videos, take a look at it, and it would be just something for you to do, something a little different. I know Jimmy is a man of many different...
I've been baking like a nut.
Jimmy bakes, he cleans, he does upholstery, he dances, right? You
put me up there. I mean, now you have to kind of go into a little story about me. Patrick, you bring up the music.
Well, Jimmy gets a big kick out of it, and later on, if we have time, I'm definitely going to do this. I want to have time. I want to show people who haven't signed up for the online classes exactly how it's different than the YouTube channel. I'm going to have Jimmy come up here and do a stitch up here and just kind of demonstrate what the online classes are all about. So if Jimmy wouldn't mind doing that. He's
Star of stars.
He's a good sport. I'm telling you, Jimmy's a good sport. He looks at that introduction that we have every time. I asked him today, I said, Jim, do you like the introduction? And he said, well, maybe we should change it. So I don't mind reversing the roles. I don't mind getting served the coconut fiber.
Oh, really?
Jimmy.
Okay.
No.
Well, all right, Mr. Kennedy. All right. If you feel that way.
So let's start with the YouTube. For the first one, Janine, I have to say a shout out to Janine. She's been such a great support of ours. I can't tell you how important it is for the comments, to get these comments on YouTube. It keeps us going.
Oh,
If we did these YouTube videos and never got any comments, even the negative ones, if we didn't get any, I don't think we would be where we are. I don't think we would be where we are if we would have stopped I know, if I can speak for myself. Because then you don't think anybody's really getting anything out of it if they're not commenting, right?
Well, it's nice that you get the thumbs up and you have, say 150 or 200 of those. But you want to see what people are understanding of the lesson.
Even the thumbs down, Jimmy, you wonder. There's somebody that does a thumb.
We'll hunt them down.
We just put it up and thumbs down right away.
We'll get them right off the air.
I can't even get the first word out, and then I see that big thumb coming down.
Yeah.
Is that you, Jimmy?
No, it's really hard. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's no way to trace those thumbs. I know that.
I know. Well, that's like the restaurant reviews. I mean, I don't believe they have.
Well, you're not supposed to. It's anonymous. It's fine.
Yes, but I mean, I think it gives the people who will say, "Geez, I wish you had done this." I'm looking to expand on that lesson.
You mean? Well, that's where the commentary comes into play.
Yes.
And,
so
that's fine.
but it's good. I mean, you get the ups and downs, and you get the people giving their.
We have thick skin. We could take the negative comments.
Oh, you can. I don't know about me. I'm crying to the front.
I don't believe that for minutes. So Janine says, I personally really like this format. Now she's talking about the
Last week's Q&A.
last week's Q&A when I did a leather seat, because we didn't have much material to work
But I
with.
think to a point, you should give like a little bit of a mini lesson.
Yeah, and we're going to do that today. It's different. I was doing it myself last week. Now this week I'm going to do it with you.
Oh, okay.
So, and she says, plus you get some work completed as we learn. I love the online class of Michelle's tub chair where you found the mouse toy, because I talked about that. I mean, I'm 6'1" and I'm 200, and I'm kind of a rough and tumble guy,
Wow.
I'm not,
Your wife doesn't say
I can,
that.
I can, take care of myself.
You
And in
can.
that show, Jimmy, a little mouse, I asked Patrick, how far did I jump up in the air, Patrick?
That's pretty pathetic. Your head went through the ceiling.
He said it was pretty pathetic. Did you hear?
Really? Was it like that axe throwing video, Patrick?
Oh, yeah, it's got to go up on the channel.
I was pretty embarrassed.
Well, you know what? As much as they say that, oh, just throw it, I think there's a little bit of a technique with that.
Yeah.
So,
And she says, I like Janine. She says, I love the online class of Michelle's tub chair where you found the mouse, and in parentheses, toy.
yes.
So it wasn't even a real mouse I reacted
See,
to.
obviously she's looking at you.
I watched it several times.
Really? Oh my
She
God.
says, it's so funny. Merry Christmas, Kevin, Patrick, and Michaela.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Oh, that's funny. And the next one is from Princess Unicorn.
Is that somebody new?
I don't know. Oh, she says she's new. She says she's commenting on the deconstruction of a dining room chair.
Oh wow.
And then she says, hi, I just started following you and I enjoy your teachings. I have a question. How can you tell how old is a chair? I would like to send you a picture and maybe you can help.
Well, first join the Facebook forum.
She
Yes.
could join the Facebook forum because, some of our students on there have different areas of expertise, I've noticed. Some are more expert in the wood portions of the furniture than even I am. But a lot of times I judge a piece how old it is by how many times it's been upholstered, how old the upholstery is. If it was done with tacks or staples, that's an indication.
Well, do you remember my first project coming in here?
No, tell us about it, Jimmy.
The first project that came in was a very small chair, wooden back,
Yeah,
and basically it's nice cushioned chair. It ended up being, but when I had taken everything off with all the trimming and so on, and finally got it down to the frame itself, I was amazed at the amount of staples that were actually in it. And I said to you at the time, how many times has this been done over? And you said to me, 6, 7.
wow.
I
So
was-
that's
and
amazing.
I was stunned.
I forgot about that. So 6 or 7 times, when you think about the average fabric lasts between 15 and 20 years. Let's say 20 years. 20 times 6, that's 120 years. So sometimes you could trace a piece
Oh,
like that,
Yeah.
you know.
And look at the what's right next to you. I mean that.
Yeah, this
the
is
fabric itself was at least 90 years old.
but you had the original fabric on here, which
Yes.
is very unusual.
Yes, I don't know how that. I'll have to talk to my client about that because I still don't understand how we kept it
Yeah.
even semi together.
Well, I don't think it was used a lot. So this next thing, we have pricing in the upholstery business, which kind of ties into what I opened up with. But this was an older video. She said, Wayne Joseph says, thank you for sharing and have a Merry Christmas. So what I'm trying to do now, that was just about upholstery pricing and about how, I'm trying to think, Patrick, when that was done. But that show was
Months ago.
about a month ago. So things have changed a little bit. I've noticed a little bit of not as much confidence the consumers have right now. I think to going into the winter perhaps is slowing people down a little bit on their spending. So maybe what we should do is another show, Patrick, on slipcovers. We should probably do another pricing show on slipcovers. But if you want to know, I can tell you now that when you're pricing out a slipcover, sometimes, let's say I get $1,500, $1,600 for a sofa, and for the same slipcover we get $900. So if you can say to a client who's kind of on the fence about upholstering, hey, I could save you $700 or $800 in labor, that could get you the sale. So what we're trying to do is, get as many of the sales as you can. because the prices are
Multifaceted.
going down a little bit. What's
A
that?
multifaceted,
Yeah, or diversify your
Yes.
business, yeah. So, thank you for Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to you too, Wayne. Fixing a pop button. I get a kick out of these little videos we do about how to help a homeowner. You know, I think we get a lot of people who go on there one time. I know I've done it, one time, like fixing something, and you never go back on the channel again. I know
what
we,
was it that you fixed there? You did say
oh,
that.
the dishwasher, but
Oh, okay.
I have a confession to make about that dishwater fix that I had.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, it was, remember I was telling you I saw that video and I went through the whole process of tearing the whole thing apart, the dishwasher.
Right.
And one of the legs was missing on the back and it was a little slanted and that was the problem, very easy to solve.
Right.
But the guy didn't mention that in any of his fixes.
Well, yeah.
You know, maybe he should have said, make sure it's stable, look underneath to make sure that it's level, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, I have to admit this. The washer hasn't been the same since I leveled it up.
What do you mean? It's been better or worse?
No, it's never worked. It doesn't work. My wife says it doesn't get enough water in it. For some reason, what happened, I think, was the dishwasher got used to working like this. You know, tilted. I think it got used to working tilted. And then when I fixed it, it's still broken. Now, Jimmy, it reminds me now, you did we get off subject a little bit, I know. But, you know, bear with me, you guys, because I think this might be funny.
Okay.
You used to do, not ball, square dancing.
Swing dancing.
Well, let's say you did square dancing, just for the sake of the story.
Okay.
I heard of a call. They called, now I know that enough, right?
Okay.
They say it's a call.
Yes.
Certain dances have a call, right?
Yes.
I heard of a call up in New Hampshire. There's a barn that was at a slant like my dishwasher. It was like this. The barn slanted, right? It's an old barn.
Okay.
And the call for that dance was specifically designed. I got Jimmy laughing over there. For the slant in the barn, right? And now this would be done in a hot, night in the summer. The call and it would be something like this. Take your partner head uphill. Turn her around and run downhill. It's kind of like my dishwasher. It should never. You don't want to straighten that barn out because it's fun, right? Where else can you have a call?
Well, would you want to put it back? Would you want to put the dishwasher back?
You mean the barn?
No, not the barn.
You know what?
We'll go up. You know what? We haven't taken a field trip in a while. We'll go up to New Hampshire. We'll have a nice lunch. We'll find the barn.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that if I tilt the dishwasher again, it might work?
You know what? I would.
I'm going to try it, but not the barn.
I would clean out the drain though.
I have done it 3 times, Jimmy.
Really?
Yeah. So fixing a pop
Balls?
button. Boy, did we get off subject. This guy only wants to fix a button, and we were up in New Hampshire. You were in New Hampshire doing a square dance in a crooked barn. What's wrong with you?
You aren't calling it out. Do-si-do and bring it around. Give it back.
I can't put 2 feet in front of one another anyhow. Patrick's back there. He doesn't find this funny at all.
Patrick looks like a dancer. Michaela looks like a dancer. She'd be a
I think, well, Patrick being Irish, I think he'd do more of an Irish step dance like that.
Oh, God. I can't see him getting up there doing a Michael Flatley.
Oh, flatly. 32 taps per second, by the way.
Really?
Can you believe that?
I saw the show. I saw him once.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think he's great. Anyhow, fixing a pop button, just repaired my chair with the washer and some twine. Thanks. That's what we have 2 of them up there. We have one for people who have out of the, the drawer in their kitchen, all the things they need to fix a pop button. Mm-hmm. And then we have the kit on the online classes if anybody's interested in doing a professional fix. Granted, the one I show with the washer and the needle nose pliers and the twine it doesn't work on all fabrics and it won't work on all pieces. But this guy had great success. Saved himself a few $100s.
Well, he adapted to the situation.
Right. So here we have Rare Find How to Upholstery, an 1860 Antique Chair Restoration, Part 1. Can't remember how long ago that was, but BLC Scott, he says, great video, especially on the history of making a chair. I've recently found an old high back cane chair, and I want to reupholster the seat and paint the chair to give it a more contemporary look. Thank you. And before I forget, this is a live question and answer for all those who are looking for support, taking the online classes, or watching our YouTube classes. We love our YouTube viewers. And I might mention right now, please subscribe if you already haven't. And Jimmy just dropped his phone. Are you okay, Jimmy, or is your phone okay?
No, don't worry, I didn't go far.
Okay.
There are a few comments, Mikhail, if you want to.
Oh, let's get to some comments.
Erica says, sewing is hard.
Yeah.
I just got a vintage Kenmore from the 70s made by Genome. It's a 1 amp motor and the presser put has extra lift. I'm going to keep practicing.
Yeah, I think that we need to all up our game a little bit with the sewing, all us upholsterers. We used to be very diversified. You know, I say now do the slip covers, but before, I'll tell you, when I first started, one of my mentors, he could do drapes, he could do slip covers, he could do upholstery, he could do lampshade covering, he could upholster walls.
Upholster walls.
Yeah, he was a designer, right? So that's six trades right there. It's like doctors, right? Doctors years ago could do everything,
Right.
from your toe to your top of your head. Now, I'm only a doctor of the left ear, right?
Yeah, my specialty.
You're a specialist, not the right ear. That's my partner down the hall. I'm the left
Him
ear.
to see in 6 months from now. Okay, I guess you're really, I say I'm special too in the morning, but you know what, doesn't go far.
No. So here we got we like to laugh and have fun with these question and answers too. So for all you serious upholsterers who are waiting for some really serious information,
Sorry.
It'll never happen.
no, not sorry. It'll come out. It just you have to weed it out. That's why we have the question and answer, right, Patrick?
Yeah.
Is there another comment or question up there?
Gabrielle posted an interesting one.
Okay, well let's listen to that.
It's about when you work on Jimmy's piece. She's got a question, a request. Excuse me.
Okay, what is it? Jimmy, this one's for you.
When we get to Jimmy's piece, can we talk about the use of blind stitching and whether Kevin uses them?
Sure.
I've tried and failed.
Oh, no, you'll get it.
Well, let's answer that now, because we're not doing any blind stitching here. We're doing blanket stitching, which is a difference. So blind stitching is only used mainly for closing up outsides and
Yes.
maybe closing up pleats and things like that. But the thing about I have a feeling she's being hard on herself with those hand stitching, because when I used to teach the hand stitch, and people would really pick up really quickly about how to do it, right?
Yes, I did.
And you did, and you were one of the people that I said, Jimmy, you're doing too good of a job. You guys actually do too good of a job, meaning it looks like a seam that a machine sewed. I wanted more of a showing that it was a hand stitch, a little more puckering.
Oh,
And
no.
I think that it's interesting though. You know those very fancy Italian cars, the Lamborghinis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if you go in a Lamborghini, if you have one, Jimmy? Have you ever been in one?
No, I walked by one, so.
Okay.
Well, I've been in one or two. I knew somebody that had a couple, and I couldn't help notice that the stitching everything's hand stitched in these Italian cars, right? Now the guy or woman who's hand stitching that can do a perfectly straight stitch, no problem, believe me. But purposely, you see a double line of stitching and it would go down like this and then up again and down again and up again. Because they want people to know that this was hand stitched, not machine done. So the imperfections are endearing. I have a feeling that Gabrielle was being too hard on herself with the hand stitching.
Well, I mean, I remember when Pamela taught me, and you helped out too, it was a little sense of rhythm to it.
Yes.
But the so many times that I've done it, perfect. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
you were really good at it, and most people when they learn it, they want to be perfect with the stitching.
Well, they wanted that snug fit. and
Right.
That's what you really
Right.
want to see.
You should see how fast I go when I'm doing it.
Oh,
Today.
I've seen you once before.
well, it's kind of done on purpose so that I kind of make myself do some imperfections, like on womb chairs. Womb chairs to this day need to be hand stitched. There's very few hand stitching in modern upholstery now, but a womb chair is one of those modern chairs that the outside has to be hand stitched. You can't use that metal strip to do it.
Okay.
And that's done. If you look at some of the original womb chairs, it looks like a hand stitch.
Yeah.
it looks like a hand, or there's imperfections, which is good. Well, anyhow.
But do you have a video on that? On the
Do we have one, Patrick, on hand stitching?
Yeah, we should.
I
know
think
you did
we
the
do.
Arm cap.
Well,
Hand stitching and arm cap.
Yeah, we do. You go on the Broadway Upholstery
And
School
probably more
site.
than that too.
Yeah, it's one of the quick fixes, isn't it, Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out, you guys. So 6, we have Brandy, how to use and choose a trim. I think she's talking about Jimmy because she only says one thing, outstanding.
oh, that's me.
That's an adjective you can react to, right, Jimmy?
Yes.
As you're not used to those kind adjectives, right? I was walking down the street one day and I heard somebody say, "Hey, bozo," and I looked around.
And it was,
They were calling me bozo. That's all. There's no punchline. Jimmy is waiting for the punchline. Although I do have a clown story. You want to hear it?
oh God, here we go.
So you got to be careful what you say. No matter what, no matter how innocent the remark, sometimes you can get yourself in trouble. I had a whole class full of students, and it was fun. We were 12 people, and we were all having fun. And somebody brought up a clown. And I said, "John, I don't like clowns." I said, I think there's something weird about a clown. And one of the girls put her head down. I said, "What's wrong? What did I say?" She said, "I'm a professional clown." I actually had a professional clown in the class.
Yeah,
And I insulted the clown kingdom, the clowndom. And do you know they have a college for clowns?
They do. Barnum and Billy's had a clown college.
Not anymore. Is it?
I'm not sure if it's still.
It's a very worthy profession. You know.
Well,
I wouldn't make fun of it anymore.
Well, I know my former hockey teammate, his brother was a clown before, okay? And then he went to...
Robert says, a clown story, ...
Well, no, he actually went to clown
Who
college.
says
I think
that?
it is ridiculous.
He was one of those 15 guys inside that VW that like somehow managed to get out of it and looked like he was...
Jimmy, did you hear what you said? You had a hockey friend that was a clown.
Yeah. Well, his brother was a clown.
I'm sorry. Well, Patrick,
We should have a comedy hour after this.
somebody made a comment?
Yeah, I don't know if he was being facetious or not.
Oh, we're just having fun. We love clowns. I mean, don't we, Jimmy?
Yeah, I do.
Except the mimes.
I've seen, yes.
Mimes.
Got another next comment.
So let's go on. Is there another comment, Patrick?
No, I mean, this is about the new series, so you might want to...
Janine says, Bentwood Rocker Restoration. And we had, now getting serious now. This is the serious upholsterer. This is Sean Connery talking now. He was an upholsterer, you know.
He was
And God rest his soul.
The Untouchables was on last week.
I know. But he would appreciate that. Bentwood Rocker. Now that was a real interesting project. And the fabric that we use, you guys should check it out if you haven't seen it. So Janine says, I've been watching your YouTube channel for years now, and I have a yearly subscription on your online classes from the very beginning, yet you never disappoint with great tips and the explanation behind why. Thank you very much. Can't wait for the next installment. Now, she doesn't know.
There's 3 installments for that.
But it's awesome, Jimmy. The fabric on that it looks like an African pattern, and the Bentwood Rocker has a back that looks like a shield, and it looks just like an African shield. You know, the shields that the African warrior would use. It's absolutely stunning. It's a black and white pattern. It's unbelievable. You got to see it. I highly recommend that. So the next one here is also, wow, we got a lot of comments on the Bentwood, Patrick. Hajra says, hello from High Point, North Carolina. You are a great teacher. I've been watching your video. I got some chair. Oh my God, can't wait to fix it. Thank you so much. Learn a lot from your great tips. Thanks a lot. Work always. Thank you. I love those comments. And Kevin's been with us for a while, hasn't he? My grandma had a rocker exactly like that, but hers was wicker. Yeah, the same shape, I think he means, and everything. It was cool. And I tell you, I'm kind of a big guy, and I sat on that. It looks fragile, but it isn't. It was really comfortable. It's the rocker that makes you comfortable, right? Okay, so now we're off. I think that was it for the YouTube, unless we have any other comments or questions or anything. No. So Gabriel, she posted something that I wanted to address, and I'm going to give Patrick a chance to come up here because I think what I'm going to do, because Patrick had to run downstairs for a minute. I think what I'm going to do is have Jimmy come up now, and we're going to save this for the end. But are you back, Patrick?
Huh?
Are you back?
I'm back now.
Gabriel McFarlane,
Yes, she's next.
You're going to put that up, right?
Yes.
So we'll wait for Jimmy. Jimmy, you're going to have to wait with all
That's
your
right, I'm still in
fans.
makeup, yeah.
Tying his shoes.
Makeup. You got the red nose and the.
Yeah. Hey, I'd love to do that. That would be kind of fun for a day.
All right, Gabriel.
Gabriel says this. So Patrick says Patrick is starting to notice something about today that I'm getting off subject a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit.
He's probably lining up that home for you.
Not yet.
Dad, we're gonna go for a ride today.
No, we're gonna nice clown retirement. You're gonna like us.
Yeah, Dad, don't worry about it. You don't need the address.
Gabriel says this sofa has sort of survived 6 kids. Wow. Built in 2006. I think I can save it. Others say toss it out. First is a comment about the springs. Is it my imagination? Are these springs useless? I looked at it and I thought, I bet they sold this as an 8-way tied spring sofa. So let me just address the first comment. So that's a drop-in unit that, it's that, the history of that is that the our good people from Stickley, that old furniture, now we did I had a Stickley project in here. I think you guys can see it. I think that was a YouTube video, wasn't it, Patrick?
Yes, it was.
And they started with the drop-in units, and those are still going strong. I just did a set that was the original Stickleys, and they're still going strong. So I don't object too much to these. I'd rather see these than the zigzag springs. You can reuse these, and yes, they probably did. The only thing you're lacking really is the webbing on these, So I think you can reuse those. You can retie them if you want. Second, she says the center had a 1/2-inch foam which cut through the decking. I was thinking now what they forgot to do is they forgot to put the burlap on. All right, there's no burlap there, so add the burlap. She says I was thinking I could remove all the plastic strings. Oh, I didn't know there were plastic strings. You're probably better off, and tie the 2 drop-ins to make a solid deck. And she said, and tie the 2 drop-ins to make a solid deck. Then should I put supports such as jute under it? No, what you're going to do is you're going to take the plastic. When you say plastic, you're actually talking nylon twine, which I always say don't do. If you go on our site with supplies, I wouldn't have that in there. I'd have the jute. So you can replace it with the jute. Make sure you put the burlap over that, and then you can put the 1/2-inch foam. But you have something else that you need to do here, which I noticed. But let's keep going. Third, I did not have an edge roll or any Dacron. It did not have any edge roll. That's what I was just about to say. The seat cushions slide off even though they Velcroed them on. And actually, stay tuned, Gabrielle, because we're gonna. Is she on, Patrick?
Yes.
Listening?
Yes, she is.
Well, we're gonna show you on this here just what you have to do on that sofa. You have to build up the front with an edge roll. Make sure that the front edge is higher than the back decking. And your cushions you don't need Velcro. The only reason they have Velcro is because they didn't properly do the seat. And Jimmy will talk about the process of how to do that in a minute. So stay tuned. So finally, it was upholstered, then screwed to the base with the cambric in place, which is weird. I don't know if it was glued like the Boston Ottoman. That you, Jimmy, the Boston Ottoman?
Yes.
I like this sofa, but should I bother? I think definitely it's worthy of upholstering with just such the changes that I mentioned, plus going to loose cushions but building the front up like Jimmy did. And after I get through my next comments, Jimmy will be coming up here to show
I'm
us.
making my way down now.
Jimmy, make sure that did you get are you unionized yet, Jimmy? With the
Yeah.
Did you get your?
It's Union 6 7/8, and
All right. So
the
this one.
Amalgamated Upholsterers of America.
Yeah. So this one here is from Kurt from New York. He says under seat for a mission chair. So we were just talking about a mission chair or Stickley. This looks like a Stickley. Do you have that up there, Patrick?
Yes.
So this is an example. You know, we're going to have a moment of silence for this chair, Jimmy,
Why?
because they took the unit, they took the drop-in unit out, and it went bye-bye somewhere. So, and then they changed it into a wooden plank on the bottom.
A wooden plank?
A wooden, just a piece of plywood.
Are they one of those weekend upholstery?
Well, this isn't.
About this.
It's not Kurt's fault. He got this like this. Let's read what he
I don't
says.
blame Kurt at all. It's always in court. Now Kurt has to go through hell and high water to make it right.
But Kurt wants to do it right.
He's gonna do it right.
He
I
says
want pictures.
they're up there now, but not the finished ones.
That's
So
okay. You're step by step. That's what it is.
He says to the masters with an S. I think he's talking about you too, Jimmy.
Oh baby, you
He's
have to put that on
talking
my
about
resume.
you. He says, you know, Kurt is so flattering. I can't tell you, and sincere. He's a sincere fellow too. He's not just being flat. He's not just flattering. He's sincere with it. You know, he's a good guy. I actually talked to him on the phone. He says, I am refinishing the wooden framework of my mission chair, and it is going to look beautiful. That's what I like about confidence, right? My cushions are another matter, however. The cushions themselves have no zippers, and they were made with foam that is now hardened. They are thin and cheap feeling, especially the bottom cushion. So he does have a back cushion on these too, okay. Underneath the bottom seat cushion, someone has cut a plank to fit the square slotted space. That's kind of bad. But that is not how this thing was originally made. So he knows, he's probably done his research. Please look at the attached 5 photos. Pat, there are 5 photos on this pad.
Yeah, I didn't really be able to fit.
2 of them were small.
I tried to pick out the most important one.
And you will see there was some sort of weaving support structure underneath the original. I'm not sure what I see that. Can you construct a piece to fit the place of the current hard, unforgiving plank? I think yes, and we're going to talk more off camera with Kurt about how we could do this long distance, but what can happen, I'm not sure how handy Kurt is, but he could do a couple of things here. He doesn't have to do the drop-in unit. If he wants, he can make a frame, a really solid, well-done frame. And one frame that I just had, actually the front edge was beveled. It was really thick stock, and the front edge they had beveled. And we made it, I think we featured this on the live show last week, didn't we, Patrick? And they made it,
I can't remember.
they made it beveled on the front edge so that the upholstery would slide, even with the padding, would slide nicely over. And it was a slip seat. It was made like a slip seat. And I think he could do the same thing. He doesn't have to go to the drop-in unit here. I think he could we could make it for him, a very hard wood frame.
Denise wants to know, is Kurt's chair, was it caned
No, I don't.
underneath?
Oh, wait a minute.
You have the picture?
Oh boy, guess what? She sees these holes on the side here. I think Kurt, did you know that?
Good observation.
Is Kurt watching by any chance, Patrick?
I'm not sure.
That's okay if he isn't. He can watch it again, but she just observed, I didn't see these little holes. I think she's right. This was a caned. This is unusual now. I'm not sure if this was Stickley, because I don't recall Stickley doing caning. But now, so what he has to do now that I see that it was caned, the profile of this chair is going to be such that you can't put too much padding in it, because a cane seat is made proper from the floor up. It's made to the caning is proper height. So a slip seat is advisable, but not a slip seat over a piece of wood and not a loose cushion. So definitely a well-fitted, framed, then we're going to go to the seat webbing and the burlap, and then probably, if you wanted to do it historically correct, a half a layer of horsehair, muslin, and then the cotton over it, and that's it. And the back, I don't see the back on this, so I want to hold off on any advice on the back cushion, because to me it probably didn't even have a back cushion, but I can't see it. So Kurt's going to have to send better pictures of the back, because I'm not sure about the back.
Well, do you think they had the springs in the back?
No, not on this chair, Jimmy. I could tell the frame wouldn't take springs on the back. That would be highly unusual. The only time I see back springs on an Eastlake or a Stickley is some of the old recliner stickleys that had the button in the front. I don't know if you've ever seen this. These are very rare.
Okay.
There's a button you press and it reclines. It's
Okay.
really cool. It's like they were well ahead of their time. Some of this stuff, you know, some of that older furniture, they were well ahead of the times with that. Some of these mechanisms that we see inside antique furniture are gravity triggered. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just so clever how they have this mechanism just kind of hanging, if I can describe it, and it just it's gravity. It's done with gravity. That's all I can say. It's very well designed. So anyhow, I got off subject a little bit there, but Kurt, if you want to send more pictures, Kurt, and we can talk more about your chair, I'd love to. But I think thanks. So who had made that comment about the
Denise.
who?
Denise.
Denise, thank you for seeing that, because I didn't see that. So that really solved a mystery. Okay,
Is it
now,
time for Jimmy?
huh?
The time for Jimmy?
Yes, it's finally time for Jimmy. So I'm going to give you guys a
We
taste
want
of the
to show.
online class.
We
Come on up
want
here,
to show.
Jimmy.
Okay.
So Jimmy is taking this online class, and we're doing, and this is good for Gabriel to see. So what Jimmy had, let's get the cushion out, Jimmy.
Oh, yes. This cushion, don't worry about how it looks, everyone.
Tell everybody what was the only thing that was reusable in your...
The only thing that I saved from this disaster, and I had no idea when I picked it up how bad it was. I had literally, when I had picked it up, I had somebody helping me. The springs were literally hanging from the bottom of the settee here, and it was what was left over: the springs, the frame, and the cushion.
So the only reusable thing you had are the frame and the cushion
Yeah.
and the springs.
Yes, and I
And
still
the
have to
cushion.
give you pictures on that to see what it. People will be amazed at how it's gotten.
Guys, original fabric too, which is very unusual for how old this is. Right?
90
Yeah,
years old.
at least. Yeah. So let's put this down. So Jimmy, he's on his. You guys should check out the online classes. This will be posted probably late winter, I would say.
Okay.
Although my Patrick's not here to ask that, I don't think. Late winter.
Okay.
But you're going to be on your 9th class
Mhm.
coming up,
Mhm.
and you know, tell people the process to this point where we're at now.
Well, everything with the webbing, we framed the webbing from back. I don't know if they want to see the back of it or not, but from top to bottom, everything was webbed. We clamped all the springs. How many were there? 17.
We clinched all the springs in 3 spots to the webbing, to the
Yes.
seat webbing.
And then we did the 8-way tie.
Mhm.
We made sure that was all taken care of, and then we burlapped the whole, I'm going to say sofa, and that was, oh God, that was about 3 weeks ago we did that. And then we started with the edging, and this has been like a new lesson altogether.
Yeah, this is essential. This is a really important part of the sofa right here. Because as you can see from Gabriel, when something isn't done properly, and even though they put Velcro in, because they knew they had a problem, so they hey, we got a problem, the cushions are moving forward. Instead of going back to the drawing board and asking somebody like me, how do you get the cushions from not to be falling out? Well, you make the seat higher than the deck, the 2 parts. So they could have avoided. Instead, they go with the Velcro and ties and clamps and
They
everything
make
else.
it look cheap.
And they still slide forward. That doesn't help.
No.
Because gravity does
Yeah,
does
people,
a job,
people
right?
tend to like lean forward anyway,
Yeah.
so you
So this area here is so important. You can see, even though it's pretty unfair to pick on a 90-year-old cushion, but I'm going to. This is where the wear is, even on the cushion, right?
Right.
So that's what's going to happen on the seat, even more if it's not done properly. So, so Jimmy, why don't you catch people up on what you've done here?
Well, we have tied not just one, as you can see here, we have a little bit of a frame here that we had to kind of cushion a little bit, but also then, which is something that, this is the first for me, is tying off a second to the whole frame and to the first.
So tell people what you did in the beginning to help you kind of set it in place first. Instead of using pins, you
Oh,
did a series of what?
series of
Slip knots.
slip knots through the hole from left, or rather, I went
Did
from
about
right to left.
3 or 4 or 5 of them maybe.
Yes.
Just to get it in place before you did. Do you remember the name of the stitch that you did the first
Back
blanket stitch?
blanket stitch. I was thinking
So,
blind stitch.
so Jimmy did an entire blanket stitch right across there, and then he has to do a second blanket stitch in between here, and he's going to do a third one. So we're going to try to feature, just to give people an idea, if they're not taking the online classes, kind of a slice of what we're doing on the
Okay.
online classes.
But if you want to explain what you said to me today, the last stitch that I would be doing to hold this
Well,
up.
let's pull it up this
Okay.
way to show people. So Jimmy has to get the last blanket stitch that he's going to do is going to be like right here to this burlap. And it's a little unusual, but that's going to be helping him to prevent this from moving forward when people get out of the. So when people leave the settee,
Yes.
and they're pushing forward, so it's gonna offer some support.
Okay.
So a good upholsterer, he or she is thinking about. I want this to last I want my underneath I'm not talking on the fabric. I want my construction underneath to last 80 years, 90 years, 100 years.
Right.
I've seen spring seats last 150 years. Can you
Right.
believe that?
Oh, yeah.
If it's done right. And so we're always looking, we're not gonna, we could do an easy thing here. We could put foam rubber on this and be done with it.
Oh, no.
But we're not gonna do that.
No,
So-
I mean, this does need to be, this is solid, but
So why
again,
don't you attempt to do a couple of those stitches to show people, try to get an idea what a blanket stitch is. I know Jimmy, so he's using a 4-inch curved needle. And what he's trying to do is take the top and kind of marry it to the bottom. He's taking the top fox edging and he's trying to marry it to the bottom fox edging tightly. So there's going to be something that he does in the beginning. Why don't you show people really slow and explain what's happening here? He's
What-
intentionally, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, no, go ahead, you comment.
He's intentionally going through the loop. You know how most of the times when you're doing a blind stitch, we mentioned blind stitch earlier, you want to avoid going through the loop. Well, in a blanket stitch, you want to go through the loop because that's what Jimmy's doing now, and what it's doing is tightening the rolls together by doing that. So when Jimmy does this next one, I want to ask him if he can stand aside just a little bit. Just to, do you have the overhead on here too?
Yes, I do.
Oh, he's got the overhead on Jimmy.
He had my best side.
So when Jimmy goes through here, he's gonna crank this up from the left to the right to the left again, and that gets it tight. And what happens is sometimes the last stitch that you do loosens up, but then you make it up on the next stitch. So that's what he's doing. So he's got a lot of stitch. If I have to count them, each individual stitch, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30. He's got 30, 60, 90. He's probably gonna have about 100. Well, by the time he's done, he's going to have about 100 individual stitches on that top layer. Now the bottom layer, you might be asking, how do they get the bottom layer on? We use 14-ounce tacks on the flange and on the front, and we use some stapling on the front edge to get it really tight. You might be able to see the little puckers where the staples are on the front edge. And so we had a little bit of a bridge. Jimmy mentioned this area here. So we had to bridge that with the smaller edge roll right in there because the big edge roll would have created a bump, and you don't want that, right?
Now, how big is this roll? For those in
These
the
are
audience.
1.5. These are
Okay.
1.5 to 2 inches.
And the smallest is what?
Yeah, so I want to stop right now. I want to. Jimmy's really going to town here. So that is getting really tight, and that's just what we want to see. The next stitch will do the trick.
Okay.
So I think, Patrick, do we have any other comments or questions?
No, we don't.
So if you guys want, if you haven't subscribed to the online classes, what you're going to get with the classes with Jimmy and Michelle and Bernice, I think what you're going to get is more in-depth than what you get on the YouTube. And I've always said that. It's not that when we do a YouTube video, it's not that we're even intentionally holding back information. It's just that
It's a time
Jimmy
factor.
is asking the right questions as a beginner. He's learning. He's asking the question. I think that's where you guys learn. And for you guys who are upholstering, if you're even journeymen, and you're working in a shop and you don't want to make mistakes, we prevent a lot of those mistakes by the show, I think.
Yes.
For instance, I remember when Jimmy was doing the back. Jimmy says, we were doing the individual sections on the back. Jimmy says, why can't I just run the burlap in one roll? Which is a good question, but it's impossible to get the kinks out if you do one. And this is a common mistake that people make. They try to jump ahead a little bit. They'll do the bottom, they'll staple the bottom, and then when they go pulling, they'll get up here. But when they get over here, it will be creased and they won't know what to do with it.
Right.
So that's why you do it in 3 sections.
And actually, you said to me that this was, this was all one piece in the back, what I brought
It's
it
a
in.
sewn piece, though.
Yes, one big sewn piece.
Right. It's got
Actually-
piping, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you actually, obviously when they reupholstered it, that's what they did, they made it all one.
Mhm.
But you had said originally that this was 3 separate sections. which is
Originally.
great.
Do you remember that they didn't have seams in the fabric that they, are you talking about that they didn't have seams?
Yeah,
The only way they could have done that on something like this is if it was like a wool or a stretchy fabric. There is a way of doing it, but it's a technique.
okay.
It's a different technique that they're dividing it up in 3.
Okay.
So if you guys want to see what we do, it depends on the fabric that Jimmy picks out. I haven't seen the fabric yet, have I?
Yeah, well, I should bring it in next week.
So we have to see the fabric. It really does depend on the fabric. A lot of what you do depends on the fabric. A lot of what is possible sometimes depends on the fabric. For instance, if you're doing slip covers, you don't want to be using a heavy upholstery fabric because you cannot get 3 or 4 or 6 layers underneath your foot of your machine. So you have to go to a thinner fabric, for instance. So on a knoll chair or some mid-century furniture, make sure you put wool. You want to use a stretchy wool. You can't do a stripe or a plaid on something that has round inside arms. It's not going to work. So you have to be very careful with that type of stuff. So I think, Patrick, unless there are any more comments, or
There's other thing to mention in the new year. I just want to mention that our tech team is hard at work on the new school, the brand new school format with LearnDash. So that hopefully by the end of January, that'll be up along with Jimmy's next class, which one was it, Jim? Was it the carved mahogany?
Yep, carved mahogany he's doing now.
Yep.
So we're excited about, Patrick keeps up with the new technologies, and what that means is that it's more user-friendly for you guys. And I think that even extends to YouTube videos, right, Patrick? In some ways,
Yes.
the quality and the technique. We're learning a lot as we go along, and I think what Patrick's done is amazing here. I mean, 20 years ago, you would need 3 cameramen, a sound person, a producer, an associate producer. The
It
list
would
goes
be at
on
least
and on
10
and on.
people.
And here, with the technology, with the YouTube and the way the camera work, and of course, it doesn't mean we're not filming just with a phone, Patrick.
Right.
We have mixes and things like
Sorry
that.
about that.
Yeah, in the beginning, you can see the history of the YouTube channel is kind of interesting with the shaky. But people say don't take those down because some people like to see the history of the channel, so we won't do that. But anyhow,
Also, a bunch of different other updates going on with the site next year too. So look out for those. We won't mention those yet, but a lot of exciting upgrades.
so we're
Interactive stuff with cushions and all that.
we're not gonna fold up, you guys, because this has been tough. We're not gonna say this has been tough, Patrick. Everybody's having a tough time, no matter what business you're in. I don't care what business you're in, but we're moving full steam ahead, and we want to offer better products coming up. The new year, we're really hopeful for the new year.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to be healthy and pray that this pandemic will be behind us and business will just explode, right, Pat?
Yep, I'm confident.
Yeah,
Night
we're all
night and day, weekends, holidays, we're open.
Thank you, Denise, for the compliment.
Thank
I
you.
should be paid for 5 different guys.
What's that?
I wish. She said Patrick needs to be paid for 5 guys.
Oh, no, don't encourage them, don't say
So we're not
that.
raised that. Come
Yeah.
on.
Well, it's interesting. 5 guys. I think there's 5 guys locally that he can work. There's a short.
Yeah, they make about $12.75 an hour.
So I think we'll close out with that. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Talk about shooting someone down.